Well, you know, we're working on the place where the luggage goes, and this frame here carries the eyes that carries the leather cover known as the luggage boot that keeps all this luggage out of the dust. Well, I need to tap these eyes into this framework, and I have the hole location patterned off of the old one. A couple of these had been changed, but I think I know which ones are original. Well, I made these at a 7/16, so I need to drill and tap these for these 7/16 bolts. I do it in steel all the time, but I need to do it in wood. And these have to be kind of a blind hole because I really don't want them poking through. On the old ones, you can see that maybe wear and tear and decay over time, they do show up, but I don't think that is the initial intent. So I need to drill these so they don't come through. So looking on my drill index for a 7/16 tap size, I need to drill these with a 23/64 drill bit size. So to make sure I have everything figured out, I'm going to do this on a scrap piece and see how this is going to work. Now I could go get a set of calipers and figure out what exactly this depth is. About so far, looks like about 3/4 maybe. If I put that up against my eye, that should be about right. See if I can get some threads tapped into this. I guess you can take vegetable oil and lubricate wood when you're cutting threads. Feels like I'm kind of bottoming out there. Not that deep. Well, these taps are tapered to start that thread. So to do a blind tap, I really should have a bottoming tap, and I don't have one. But I have another 7/16 tap here that's broken up on top. So I think I might just take the bottom 1/4 to 3/8 of an inch off of this and turn it into a blind tap or a bottoming tap. See if I can put that in there and bring my threads clear to the bottom. That'll help this seat out a little better. Hopefully that'll hold enough. Bottom there, I think. Well, about that deep. See how that works. When I do the real thing, I may have to go just a fuzz deeper, but I'll check my depth gauge for sure. I think that's going to work really well. So, on the real deal, if I come down just to where my threads stop, I'm going to stop short of coming through by 1/8 to 3/16. And that's about where I was at on my test piece, was right there. I think I want to do that about the same. I'm going to set my depth stop about right there. wants to wobble a little easier than in steel. Be kind of careful to start with. Right there. Stop right there. There's one. They could work. So this is where my new reproduction is going to have to go. I'm going to take a 7/16 rod and see if they actually line up. It will go. I'd say this one actually needs to come up just a fuzz. I think it's a little low, or this one may need to go down just a fuzz. I think I'm going to try to lower this one just a bit. I'm going to take just a little bit off, about another thread. Yeah, that lined up better there. That looks more gooder. So there's a side to this top boot, and there's another iron that goes down and follows the curve of that back. I want to leave about a 1/2 inch for it, maybe another 1/2 inch or a little more. I'm going to give them this extra. It'll be for that side iron and a nut. I'll do the same on this side. I think I'm going to trim that off right about there. There we go. Well, with my eyelets installed and now my joint work cut in for these bumper strips, I realized I wasn't looking far enough down the road. Now, I don't know if the old screw holes for these wood strips are going to interfere with these screws. It won't be a problem here, but I didn't think about these screws. So these are the screws that did go into the framework, and that's going to fit up into this joint here, right there. Now the question is, do these interfere with my other screws? I have one here. Maybe I should mark these out so I can see them from the side. These are going to be okay. I have a screw here, here, and here. This one's going to be close, but it's going to miss. That one's going to miss, that one's going to miss, and this one's going to miss. So, luck of the draw, I'm okay on this right side. I'm okay here, there, in the wrong place for that one. I might be able to just pull this one out completely, and this screw will substitute for that one, I'm hoping. So I have to move this one. And then maybe this screw will actually go into that hole. Maybe that'll work. So the irons on these two center ones have to be on the right wood. The hole spacings are a little different. See, we're different here, so I have to make sure the right iron goes on the right strip. Well, now these have screws through the inside of the panel here, but I really don't want to get into these old holes. I'd like to have fresh holes. So I want to mark out maybe where my new screws will go on the inside. Could have one here, maybe about there. Just so when I put these screws, they have a good fresh hold. So this is where I want my new screws to be, and I want to mark those out. So my joint tells me where the top needs to go. My bottom wants to be lined up with this iron here, right about there. I'm going to mark where this is going to be. And this is where I want my screw holes to be from the inside. So I salvaged a lot of the old original screws. These went through the top frame. These went all through the irons. These are on both sides that go into the main frame. I'm going to use most of those for the inside out. I'm probably just going to put a new screw in. I have a few of these old ones, but not all of them. So I'm going to start with these two center ones. I'm going to try to glue them into place. I'm going to start at the bottom and it goes into the main cross frame. I want to make sure this lines up properly with the iron on the floorboard. And as I sit it in the top frame, it'll kind of keep it into place. I think I'm going to work from the bottom up. Seem to have nice glue contacts, so that's nice. So these outside strips are kind of a different challenge. I think they were disconnected long enough from that old body that it doesn't fit this contour anymore. I don't know if I can pull that in with a screw just by itself under that tension. I think I'm going to try to figure out where that screw goes and then release my top frame, and then I'll know where that goes. And I think I'm going to do these two screws first, then use that top frame to pull the top into place, and hopefully the two screws will hold that in place. So this one's going to go in the place of that one screw I took out. So we want to make sure these stay in the right position. That's going to allow this to come closer to the curve, and then I can use the leverage up on top to make it bend. Hopefully these two screws will keep it in place. And make sure everything fits, then I'll back up a bit and actually glue this in place, but I want to make sure it works first. So the plan is to use this to pull them into place. I think that's going to work. This bottom stays pretty tight. I've got about an 1/8" gap here, but I think I can put my C-clamp on there, suck that up tight, then pre-drill my holes so everything will be in place when I get ready to glue this. Yeah, that's going to tighten it up nicely. So the last step for this whole assembly is to get this framework here installed. I'd like to take it off and glue it in place. Remember, we have 2 screws on the ends here, 2 through the top, and then 3 that comes through this framework toward the back. So you know by now I do use original old slotted wood screws, and like these here, sometimes I use Torx head screws. And I've been asked by different folks, how come the difference? These slotted screws I use because the shape of that head is drilled into that iron, so those two tapers match each other. So if I were to put a Torx head screw in there, the taper and shape of that head would not match the steel. But when I'm putting it into wood, I don't have that problem. There's no steel countersink to match. So they all get covered up, but these Torx head screws, they go in so much quicker and easier than these slotted screws. So when I'm putting a screw in an old iron, I try to put the old original slotted screws in because the heads and the tapers match. When I'm putting them into wood, the convenience and speed of Torx head, I just like them better. So I use them when the head is being countersunk into wood. So that's kind of the difference. Like I say, they all get covered up. You should never see a screw head anywhere. So these two screws on top don't get covered with anything, so I'm going to fill those. But you saw that when I took these screws out, they didn't have any filler on them either, because it all gets covered with upholstery. So that's kind of my reasoning behind where I use an original old slotted screw and where I use modern day Torx head screws. Well, this is a good jump on what protects this rear body panel from the luggage. There's a platform that's going to be built on the back end here. I have the original hinges for the bottom of the body. The back luggage platform was gone, so I have to build that and the hinges. And there are some chains that will come down and carry that. This rod, as we mentioned before, carries the leather boot that covers all this luggage up. But this is what protects the back of the coach body. Appreciate you coming along. Thanks for watching.